technology to work.
Yeah, I'm new to
But we've made
PC. Made it a drag
it
for
looks
sure.
and it looks pretty good, if I
Yeah,
say so myself. So
I think this
um,
should work. I hope it does, but whatever happens, happens.
for sure.
Do you have something you have to say right off the bat? Because if not, dude, I got, I.
Oh, let's just maybe we should like I was thinking we should like introduce ourselves and maybe get to know each other a little bit better before because I feel like we have much to discuss as far as psychedelics
Oh
go.
my God, we have. Yeah, I could just go on and on, dude. I could talk to a tree about psychedelics. um, but yeah, I'm Northwood Shaman. I make YouTube videos based around spirituality, psychedelics, philosophy, mainly Eastern philosophy, and just like different perspectives of the world, certain stuff on nature, and what I made the channel like almost 2 years ago now, and what initially made me want to do it is um, just these kind of inconceivable psychedelic experiences I was having, and I really just wanted to talk about them and share my perspectives with other people that could potentially be going through the same things I was. And I've just kept making videos ever since, and here we are now in a podcast together.
And here we are.
Yeah, dude.
That's awesome. Fellow content creator here. Um, and yeah, I go by Shaman Tim, and I like to make YouTube videos and stuff. Um, been on YouTube for about a year, and been endlessly fascinated in like Eastern philosophy and spirituality and psychedelics in general. Um, been experimenting with them for many many years, and yeah, I think I just had a lot to say about them as well, a lot to share, and because of this psychedelic renaissance that we are now having in our
Right,
society,
right.
we need some intelligent people such as ourselves to be speakers and leaders in this field.
That's a cool way to look at it, bro.
Hmm.
Because, if there's a psychedelic renaissance going on, we must be a part of that, you know what I mean? Us
Hmm.
just feeling that drive to make the channel and talk about what we're talking about is that psychedelic
Exactly.
renaissance doing its thing.
Hmm. And yeah, I did want to make my channel mostly around DMT because I feel like that's kind of in a lot of ways it is kind of like the hottest or the most trending psychedelic in the public domain.
Yeah, it
As
really
I'm
is.
sure you've seen this as well yourself. And
DMT, maybe a little bit of mushrooms and ayahuasca, but yeah, mainly
yeah,
DMT, really.
and because it's so new, there's not a whole lot of information about DMT going around nowadays. Well, I mean, it's different now with people like yourself and myself and other people, but it's it doesn't have decades of use history like LSD does,
Right.
or it doesn't have millennia of traditions associated with it like mushrooms or ayahuasca.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're talking
So
about pure smoked DMT?
yes,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
yes.
that's that's something of its own. I mean, I've never done ayahuasca. I can't speak experientially on the difference
Hmm.
between the two, but yeah, smoked DMT. I mean, obviously, pharmacologically speaking, has to be different than ayahuasca and mushrooms, right? Because you're taking a pure compound, and maybe it's the same with like taking
Right.
pure psilocybin or something like that, or
Hmm.
a very
So
raw experience.
yeah, that is it is possible actually to get like raw psilocybin, and
Right.
that's what researchers do when they perform these clinical trials. Is they
In like
extract
maps and
psilocybin.
stuff.
Exactly.
Right. I like that. I actually just watched Rick Doblin was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and I thought that was
Yeah,
pretty sick, man.
yeah.
Hmm.
That was a good one. Yeah, I watched that one through its entirety a couple days ago.
I have trouble doing that. I can't, I can't sit down and watch a whole podcast as I'm making a podcast. That's funny.
Exactly. No, take it in bite-sized pieces. Um, but so I guess let me back up here a little bit because I know we have much to discuss as far as the psychedelics go, but so I wanted to learn like more about you and your story as far as things go, but quite frankly, I'm a very busy man nowadays, and I watched through some of your videos, but not all of them. So
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, like, what your history is with like psychedelics in particular. Like, how did
Okay.
you become interested in them?
All right. So I'll give you the rundown. I don't know if I've made a video about like how I got to where I was. Maybe. Um, but basically, what happened was, at 12 years old, I started smoking weed regularly, basically, and was just the stoner vibe. I was the stoner type, and my mom was always very like earthy and spiritual and stuff. Not like I am now, but she just had this sort of like nature-esque Gaian magic type thing she always told to me. And that kind of always was in my head about, because I fell away from Christianity, which is what I was like told, hey, God, God's up there and he's watching over you. You got to be a good person and stuff like that. And it never made sense to me because I started thinking, where is he? But like the classic thoughts. But no,
Yeah.
around like 15 years old, I was looking into like Buddhism and stuff, and still just smoking weed and just dabbling little bits of spirituality. And I'd say around freshman year, I started to consider myself maybe sophomore year, I started to consider myself a hippie rather than just a
Mm-hmm.
stoner, because I took on this kind of, you see my room, that was what happened during that stage. I bought all these tapestries, all these tie-dye shirts and stuff, started growing my hair out, and just all these little different things because I thought I was a hippie. And, you know, I had thought of, because I was a stoner, I thought, maybe I'll try mushrooms, but not LSD. That's fake. I would never do that. Fuck that. Maybe mushrooms. That's natural, like weed. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but what happened in particular, I was hanging out with my friend Xavier in sophomore year of high school, and I was over at his place. And he introduced me to a rapper named Chance the Rapper. You probably have heard of him. And
Mm-hmm.
specifically his album, Acid Rap. And I listened to this album high on weed and started wondering to myself, what the hell is this guy talking about? He's doing acid to like be like to be more creative and immersed in his love and relationship and music writing. And if you listen to that album Acid Rap, he gives it such this mysterious vibe, LSD. And yeah, I listened to that album and I started wondering, okay, what is this LSD thing? And because I thought I was a hippie. Hippies take psychedelics, right? So I was like, maybe I should try tripping, man. Maybe that's what I should do. So it's really like this egoic, people like me trip. So I'm gonna try tripping. So I acquired some LSD. I had my first experience on it, and it was like, at the time, just what I expected. The enhancement of feeling and uh, the visual distortions and the thoughts either getting fucked or really deep, all the hi- being high on acid. And I did it. I loved it, and I did it 4 times in 1 month. I did it once, and I did it 3 other times
Right.
in that next month because it was just such this feeling, like I felt alive. And I mean, what I'm drifting into now is how spirituality and I guess the deep side of the psychedelics got integrated into it. But that's really how I got into it, was listening to Chance the Rapper and him giving LSD this very um, mysterious and like deep vibe, and it made me wonder what is this? And once I tried LSD, I was like, what is psychedelics, bro?
Yeah. It's really interesting how like spiritual understanding and spiritual practice kind of a lot of times for people like us they co-evolve together with psychedelic
Yeah,
usage.
I think they do.
So yeah, so you were kind of identifying more with this like hippie connected persona and
Right.
learned more about Buddhism, and then um, did you say you tried mushrooms first, or was I imagining that?
Yeah, I tried LSD
Okay.
first. I said
Um,
maybe I'd try mushrooms because it's like weed and natural, but LSD, oh, that's fake. I would never do that.
so LSD was your first one then?
Yes, LSD was my first one. One tab. One tab.
All right, very nice. It's very responsible actually.
The
Uh,
most I've ever done, bro, is like 2.5. And I puked.
mhm. Yeah, I have an interesting history with LSD, but no, that's kind of beautiful. And then, did you kind of did you feel like when you first started using it, it kind of deepened your spiritual practice or understanding?
um, that is what I was starting to describe as I was drifting away from what initially got me into them. But yeah, I had those 4 trips, and I stopped, and I felt there's this one moment in particular that I remember. It was after this collection of acid trips that I just had had. I was standing in my room and basically looking at all this stuff. Behind my screen, I got a table with all these Buddha statues and books and incense and crystals. And I was looking around, and I felt fake. I felt like a phony. I felt like a poser. I felt like a douchebag. And it was like this internal message in my head that was like, you think you're that? You really think you're that? That's not what you are. You're being an actor. You're acting. And it was this, rather than having a ego death amidst the LSD trip, it was like I had done the LSD. I got that effect. And then after I stopped using it, this sort of egoic dissociation started taking over in my day-to-day life. I was seeing myself like I'm a fucking poser. I'm pretending to be this person. And I went a little while without doing psychedelics, and this whole ego dissociation thing was taking place of how I was basically seeing how I think I'm somebody doing something, and how I have all these desires, and I'm trying to be cool and funny and attractive and
Hmm.
better and stronger and all this shit. And I felt like, what the fuck, dude? Why am I doing this? Um, then I had one LSD trip one night because my brother apparently got into psychedelics. Me and him basically like separated for a while, and he wasn't a part of my life for a while. And long story short, when he came back, he was into psychedelics as well, and we did
Ah,
we did LSD together. And I had the most extraordinary ego death of my life to the up until this point where, um, metaphorically speaking, and I am assuming you and anybody else that's been there can understand, um, I couldn't find myself, and when I did, I was everything. There was no one thing in particular that defined me and represented me. Besides everything, there was no point in which I was. Because I got in this loop of asking, and I fucked myself because in the trip I started tripping, and I think this is the stage where you have ego death. So okay, who am I? It was this completely cocky thing because I had been doing my homework, as McKenna calls it, and just learning about ego death, transcendental psychedelic experiences, and spirituality. So I knew about this ego death thing, but yeah, the LSD came in from behind and actually induced it. I thought I was going to conceptually go through it, but it's this universal, like experiential experience that, like I said, it seems to be behind my mind that was asking, "Who am I?" Right? Who am I? Okay, this is ego death. Who am I? And I like that's why I said I fucked myself because I started asking for it really, and it gave it to me. I realized that I am everything. There isn't one thing that represents me. You can't exclude everything else and then find this one thing that is me. this one thing I am is everything. And it was just very. It felt real, bro. It was the truth. That's what it felt like.
That sounds like a beautiful enlightenment experience. Really, were you ready for that when it hit you, or
No, no.
really?
I had this vibe that I was gonna have a fun, chill, trippy night with my bro, our first ever LSD trip together, any trip together. But no, I started tripping, started having visuals, started feeling and thinking, and ooh, I'm in the trippy zone, okay, ego death, shit, who am I, and it just, and you know what? My brother, this is what, this one experience is what bounded me and my brother's spiritual and philosophical connection, because he was on LSD as well. And he was not spiritual. Yeah, he got into psychedelics, and it was really because of something I said. He started wondering, like, what is this kid talking about? This psychedelic stuff. But he wasn't very spiritual. But it was as if he was on LSD. He was on LSD, and it was like the LSD was speaking vicariously through him with pure wisdom,
Hmm.
pure wisdom that neither of us can recall even a smidgen of. But he was about 50% of why I realized what I did that night. And I remember we were all chilling, having fun, me and him, and then the next like 6 hours of the experience, as the peak hit, I was sitting on the bed asking these questions, and then sitting in silence, and he would say something to me, and it would strike me, and it was like I was learning, bro. It was like real learning. It felt like nothing I've felt since, very what I think
Yeah.
an ego death is, if that's not an ego death, Jesus fuck.
Yeah, exactly. Um, yeah. Sorry, I'm kind of processing my thoughts. All this
No, you're good, dude. You're good.
right here. Um, yeah, that's really beautiful. You were able to share that experience with your brother. Um, yeah, and I feel like through my own practices and my insights and meditations and everything, I think that realization itself comes through the interest in spiritual things, in like the nature of our existence here in the universe. And when you pair that together with psychedelics, that helps you reach the end goal, or realize what the end goal of spirituality is to reach this ego death state where you feel one with the universe.
Yes.
Um, and people who are not interested in spirituality, they can use any amount of psychedelics, and sometimes they'll spontaneously have that enlightenment experience, but
Right.
some people just don't.
Yeah,
So
some
it's
people
really
just get
interesting.
high, as I call it. I see it around me. Some people, it's like, and I'm, in this egoic way, jealous, because it's like when I take psychedelics, it's this spiritual fucking bomb going off. Usually if it's a nice, sufficient dose, it's so extraordinarily deep and universal and meaningful. Um, but yeah, and even on the littlest doses, but these other people around me take them and they're just high. They're just, oh, I'm just tripping,
Hmm.
bro. That's just visuals, bro. Oh yeah, that's the acid mind speaking. Oh yeah, it's just LSD, and it's like, am,
Yeah,
it's like, am I missing something, or are they missing something? You know what I mean? Like, what's the fuck am
that's a
I?
good question.
What am I seeing, bro? What is going on here?
Yeah. Well, I don't know, I guess it's not a requirement in the universe to pursue spiritual growth and understanding, and so like people can just choose to use these substances recreationally, really. Um, but they're definitely missing out, man. Like we're getting like the best deal here, pairing psychedelics with this. Like
It's
it's it is the best experience you could possibly have.
it's it's fucking crazy, man. I can't not pair spirituality with psychedelics, because at first it was just like this little cool experience, new and cool experience that I was getting into. But then it turned after that ego death, it turned into holy fuck, these psychedelic spirits are something else. They always find this way to show me from behind, in this very obscure way, and on a just on an experiential level, man. Like the fucking visuals, like how does that shit happen, bro? How is that possible? And
Yeah.
I have a question that I wanted to ask you in particular, which would help me better um, understand you and how you got to where you are. Uh, I don't even know. I was getting ready for work one morning, bro, just scrolling through YouTube, and I see your video, and I can't remember verbatim the title, but it's like something about lessons from like the lessons I've learned as a DMT wizard or something like that.
I remember that one.
And I
Yep.
was like, oh, a DMT wizard, huh? So I clicked in, and I loved your delivery. I loved your delivery. It's a really chill and easy to follow delivery. But also what you were talking about. You were talking about not just a trip report of the crazy DMT experience you had, but you're like I said, you seem like somebody that's seen DMT many times, and it you can tell when somebody is embodying those experiences, and
Mhm.
you like I said, you're not just giving these trip reports of your experience with this, or no, you're talking about how it's making you think about reality and what it's been showing you, and that's the shit I'm
It's not.
fucking looking for, bro.
It's not just saying like, "Oh, that was crazy, bro."
Oh my
Hey.
god, that gets old, dude. That really does get old. It's like, fuck yeah, it was crazy, but did you?
Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody knows that by this point that it's a wild experience. But the real interesting thing is integrating that experience you had into your ordinary waking life, and what that experience you had, like what the implications are for your ordinary everyday existence. Really,
As in what those experiences imply?
yeah, it's like I'm gonna speak about like high dose psychedelics and like DMT specifically in this example, but I think more along the lines of if DMT hyperspace is possible, it's something that's so completely paradigm shattering. And I've said this in a video before, but like when when you're in there, when I'm in there, I frequently find myself saying like, I didn't know that the universe or reality could be like this.
Right,
Like what?
right.
Like
That's what I'm saying when I say, how can it do
what?
this?
Yeah. Like how is this possible?
Hmm.
And what else are we not able to see that exists in our universe?
And, you know, is it going to be another psychedelic, or is it going to be in what we call waking life? Because
Mm-hmm.
as of right now, I'd have to say DMT is the most far out consciously I've been, unless I'm speaking metaphorically about this experience itself, in which I'm sugarcoating spirituality onto it. No, DMT is the most far out place consciously I have ever been, And I ask
Yes.
the same question in a different form. I say,
Mm-hmm.
how is this happening? I see it. I fucking see it. It's right there. It's happening. And it's
It's
like,
a reality of the universe that opens up to you,
oh my god,
like
bro.
right before. And it's like, and it's not. It's something. It's. I'm not going to word this great because I'm not Terrence McKenna, but he said in one of his videos where he explains what the DMT experience is like. He said it's not like you're like peeking through a window or something. No, this is happening like in your face.
Yeah.
It's like right here. It's very close and personal.
Yeah, it seems like it sometimes.
And I don't remember where I was going with that, but
Me neither.
yeah.
now's just a good time to, you know, sit and think about how you like how you feel about the psychedelics, and things you're
Exactly.
curious about that you would want to ask another person that may have seen the same worlds as you, and been in that same headspace, just these kind of mundane questions of you know, like I don't really even know how to word it. Just the idea that I'm talking with somebody right now that has done that thing that we're talking about. Um,
Mm,
I don't
right.
I don't even know what to I don't know how to use words to describe that world. And
Like
that's what makes these
so,
videos so interesting.
it's really difficult to pull information out of them, especially when like you get to the higher doses, the breakthrough doses. Like when so so when you're in the DMT flash, it really makes sense to you. And the way I like to think of it is that you're crossing over into a different, higher dimension of consciousness. Like, there's something about our configuration in the universe right now where our conscious experience is kind of seemingly temporarily locked into this human body. But when you introduce a sufficient amount of DMT into the system, it kind of like catapults that center of consciousness out into the higher dimensions. And that's it's kind of, you can call it like the spirit world, like some shamans call it that. You can call it like a different dimension, a different reality. But when your consciousness is in that hyperspace, um, it feels like it makes sense to you, and
Yeah.
you have meaning. You've experienced this yourself. You have meaning communicated to you through some kind of like telepathic way. It's not through English words.
See,
Like,
and that brings up these questions that I want to ask people like you, because you're telling me right now you hear the thing talking to you, and I will say, um, it does seem to this, I call it a psychic sensation. Um,
mm-hmm.
it is in English for me, and that's how I conceptually understand what it's saying. But I'm not
Yeah,
saying it. I'm my the way my your mind produces thoughts. From thought to thought, it's
yeah,
you thinking. But you can tell when something of a different context and criteria infiltrates into that, and when you're loaded in the DMT space, and you're thinking what you're thinking about how bizarre this is, and then all of a sudden something comes in immediately, maybe even in the middle of one of your thoughts, and it's this sort of immediate statement that you wouldn't usually think in that manner. You wouldn't string words together in that manner. You maybe weren't even thinking about what it said, and it gives this vibe. It gives this impression that something is talking to you. You know.
yes, yes, absolutely. The way the way I experience that phenomenon happening is that the meaning kind of just enters into my consciousness as like a whole package, as if like the entity like sends me this packet of information that's complete,
Right.
and it enters into your consciousness, and then your mind kind of like starts the unpacking process into like simple English.
Right.
That's
And do
pretty
you, do you
fascinating.
think do you think you can well, I already know how I feel about it, but do you think you can misinterpret that that package that's given, and perhaps come out of the trip saying something like it was a game of telephone where you're not even fucking saying what it was saying when you were
Yes.
really in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. that is definitely possible because there is a lot of the information in the hyperspace context, like that feeling of like understanding and familiarity fades away rapidly as the DMT leaves your system, and all you're left with is the memory of what you told yourself, what you learned.
Right, and
So,
like often it's like if you have a really strong visual hallucination, it it can imaginatorily transcribe into your memory. Where that's
mm,
basically what I talk about every time in my trip reports is images that are in my head of the experience that I had visually, and maybe thoughts that were going with that.
mm.
But
Actually, I was wondering about your experience actually. So let me ask you a question here. When you were in DMT hyperspace, you feel that connection with the entities, right? And feel that they communicate information to you.
yes,
So,
I feel like about what you first said, my connection to them. I feel like they know me more so than I know them, and to some extent more so than I know myself. You know, um,
mm,
and the connection to them is really based off of the vibe that they give off. Because they can. It's as
mm,
if they give off the vibe that I am with them and one with them. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But you can finish your question.
So, the thing that I was wondering is because it's kind of strange, and everybody that I've talked to seems to have different answers for this, and that I kind of. But I was wondering when you're in DMT hyperspace, when you have that connection with the DMT spirits, do you have a connection with multiple spirits? Like Terrence McKenna says, there are machine elves
Right.
and multiple
Right.
entities, or is it like a singular entity?
Um, in my experiences of entity contact, um, when there's been multiple entities. First of all, I've never seen machine elves. I don't really know what the hell he's talking about. That's another one of the that's another one of the things about Terrence that it's like you see these machine elves and it's like, dude, I've never seen machine elves or jeweled self-dribbling basketballs or whatever. Maybe he's just talking about the light formations and what they can look like. But as far as the entities go, when I've seen a bunch of entities, yes, multiple spirits, um, they're not really directly communicating with me in the way that we were just talking about. And usually, when something directly communicates with me, it's as if it's one-on-one. It does, and maybe I'm just putting my focus directly on this energy or spirit that is communicating with me specifically. But I have had experiences where it's like I'm in a fucking playground and there are just these beings doing these things and these crazy acrobats and the geometry that's going on amidst it in that world that they live in. And it's like, what the fuck is this? And I've been cut off by DMT entities as if I was traveling through it and they like almost T-boned me and hit me. Uh, I've seen them coming toward us. Yeah, I've seen them coming towards me. I've had them grab my hand and hurl me down a office-looking hallway. They've literally. I think I killed a DMT entity one time on accident. Um,
Wait, what?
yeah, yeah.
Oh my god, what?
You want to hear about that experience?
I okay, okay. Stop everything. Tell me about this. Okay,
So
that sounds wild. You killed a TMT entity thing.
I think I slayed a DMT entity.
Okay, please tell your story with this.
Oh god. So I was just sitting in my chair. It's right over there. And it was probably like 10 p.m. or something, and I was chilling, and everybody's gone to sleep, and I wanted to do some DMT. So I loaded a little bit up, just a little bit. I didn't want to break through. I just wanted to do a little bit. And I smoked it. I started feeling it, and then like out of nowhere, I was having these visions, bro. Like I was breaking through, and I just was like, all right, eyes shut, chilling, and I'll just tell you the whole real experience so it kind of makes sense. But I started seeing this. I call it a superstructure. It was like this thing that looked like it was made of like four-dimensional tesseract beams. Like it looks like what we would describe to be able to see through things and all angles of them at once, like weird. And it was this structure of massive beams, like a huge structure up above me. And rather than flowing and morphing, it was doing this. It was doing these weird shifts, these weird geometrical shifts, and it looked like different beams were connecting to different ones, all in this weird frame for frame shift.
Okay.
And then I guess I looked down into the center of my vision, because this was up above me. It was the feeling it was up above me. And
Okay.
I saw this, like I spoke about earlier, this office-like hallway. Looked like an office hallway. And from the right side of my vision, what looks like Slenderman. It was like this no-faced guy that was wearing a like suit and tie. He came running by me, and he grabbed my right hand, what felt like my right hand. I don't imagine I did this in real life, but he grabbed my hand, and he threw me down this office hallway. And I got hurled through this office hallway. Like, I remember seeing him out in front of me with his hand behind, because he's holding on to my hand, and then it looked like he whipped me past him. And at that point, I was with the entity that I said I killed. It was this little doll. If you've seen the movie Coraline, or you know what I'm talking about, it was this little weird-looking doll girl that had buttons for eyes, and she was very short and like stumpy, and she was crying. She was violently crying, like ugly crying, like horrifying crying, and I got nervous. I got scared at it, and I said, I told the entity, I said, let's dance. As in, the reason I said that was because this little entity doll was doing a really scary thing. And in my mind, if she started dancing, and I'm dancing with her, it would look better. It would look more visually appealing, because her sitting there crying was like scary to me. So I was like, let's dance. Let's make you happy. So I start vibrating up and down, and she starts vibrating up and down, and she turns into a blur because she's vibrating. And I can still see her facial expressions, and she's crying, and then she goes to a smile, and then quicker than I could have a thought, her smile faded to an even worse crying face than I saw initially, even more terrifying. And she started to shrivel up and rot away. She shriveled up and rotted away and was gone. And this all happened. This all happened at like light speed, but it was like all that vibrating. Everything sped up, and it was like I couldn't stop in time. It was like me making her dance like that killed her, because she got happy for a second, and then in a mere like nanosecond, she started crying even worse, and then rotted away and was gone. And I drifted off into thoughts or whatever, and wasn't really paying attention to the trip. But yeah, as I think back on that experience and the story that I've built around it, it's like I'm under the impression I like disappointed or hurt or killed or made sad a DMT entity because I imposed my fucking will on it. I tried to make the DMT entity do what I wanted it to do, and it was like I literally interacted with it, and what I did affected it, 100% affected it, and it was very far out to think about. You know what I mean? I killed a DMT entity because I made her dance, and she was happy while she was crying. That was how she's supposed to be. That is the entity she is. She cries. She's fucking roaring cry, and I tried to mess with her vibe, and killed her, and made her rot away.
That's really bizarre, man. I've never heard a story like that before. That's incredibly interesting.
Right? It's not the chrysanthemum like fucking Terrence talks about, is it?
No. Well, I mean, we can make arguments for whether or not events like this really happen within hyperdimensional space, or like it's some kind of function of our minds in combination with the DMT molecule. Um, but we don't necessarily how the rules operate in that domain. But I do think intention still plays a large part in like how actions may get judged or something. And by your own testimony, you were trying to do something good for this entity, you know.
I very well
like
was.
Cheer her up.
Yeah, I was trying to cheer her up.
Like,
but it was egoic because she was scary while she was crying, and I thought if I make her dance, she'll look more positive, and it'll be easier on my eyes. You know what I mean? It was egoic.
True that. But wow, man, that is quite an experience.
Do you have something you want to go right into? Because if not, I have a question about how the mind and DMT works. But yeah, go on with what you got to say.
I actually have a whole bunch of different things I could talk about, but so I wanted to finish my question to you. I asked you if you see like one entity or multiple entities, because it seems like everybody has different experiences, and I've gone into DMT with the purpose of trying to test what exactly I'm capable of seeing in hyperspace. I've tried seeing that if I can connect with multiple entities or singular entities is very experimental, but I've done it more times than I can count, and I've had all kinds of varieties of experiences. But with the exception of two experiences, basically every time I go into DMT, it's kind of the same thing. And I don't see landscapes like you say you did, and that's another common thing. People say they see landscapes. I don't see that. I just see abstract, hyperdimensional geometry shifting. And then I do have contact with an entity, but it's only some of the time. It's not all the time that it's there, and it's always a singular entity, and it's always the same entity.
Really?
Yes.
Wait, so you go to the same place and meet the same entity every time you do DMT?
That's been my experience up to date, yes. And
wow.
It's not always there. I can feel the connection to it more or less, actually, depending on like what time of day it is here on my section of the world. Like, if it's nighttime, the connection happens really easily. But if I do it during the day, then the entity is not present, by and large. And it feels like I'm always sitting still in the middle of a chamber and watching these abstract shapes open up and unfold and morph and transform. And I'm trying to make sense of that, or seeing if I can do something to make the experience different. But it seems to be relatively consistent with the amount of DMT I take.
How much do you take when you do it?
So, I used to use where
Yep.
you could put in. It's meant to you could like put in like tobacco or weed or something in there, and it'll just set that chamber to a certain temperature. So I would just load that up with some other plant material to like buffer the DMT crystals.
Right, like
I
inert
would
herbs.
usually, yeah, usually I'd put more in there than what I need. Usually like 100 milligrams or so.
Wow.
So, and I would just keep going until like I couldn't take hits anymore. Um,
What would make you not stop taking
yeah,
hits? Would it be a mental thing, like oh my god, or would it be physical to where you can't physically line it up, or you don't, or you conceptually just don't know
yeah.
what the fuck's going on? Like,
It's a combination of physical and conceptual, and there's a certain point where you cross into hyperspace, and you're basically like unable to operate your human organism. Once you reach a certain dose threshold, I'm sure you've experienced this yourself.
where you're just laid
Yeah,
back, eyes shut, and you're in it.
that's right. You can no longer move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
It's
have you ever done it out of like a base pipe, like like a meth pipe?
uh yeah, I have. I actually that's my preferred way of doing it now
Yep.
actually. And there's a story about that. I have a little hand pipe where I'll make some like infused herb or just put straight up crystals and then use the do it the good old fashioned way, just
Sandwich it.
inflame to yeah, sandwiching.
Oh shit. Have you seen have you seen my smoking a little bit of DMT video?
Was that the one you posted recently?
Yeah, yeah. Cuz I show the
So
device I use in that video.
I was watching that a little bit actually before we started this call here,
Yeah.
um, just to try to familiarize myself. Um, where yeah, were you just like doing like just like minuscule amounts when you
I
were
was doing a
smoking
very
that?
tiny amount. I was doing
I,
a very tiny amount.
I was about to say you got some balls of steel there to be smoking in front of a camera like that.
I can say, you know, from DMT user to DMT user, I felt it. It was there. It was there. When I shut my eyes, I saw, if you know what phosphenes are, where you rub your eyes and you see all that black moving light.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yep.
You're seeing patterns
Right.
starting to.
I'd shut my eyes and I was seeing it come into fruition. But the reason I brought that up was because of the device I use. In my experience, dude, if I want to break through, I put a big amount into that pipe and take one huge hit, as big as you can handle. And usually, you know, I'll go in for a second one maybe because I'm really trying to break through. But I basically get it all at once. I can either put the light right to it and you get the fattest hit ever, or you like kind of flicker the light and it gives you
Yeah.
hit. It slowly builds the hit up.
Uh,
But yeah, I'm able to just be
see.
out in under 30 seconds, dude. You know, if I take a brave hit.
Yeah. If you just fucking go for it.
Yeah, yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Um, it's actually really nice. Actually, um, I prefer doing it that way out of like a pipe where you just use the lighter. Because when you use like a vaporizer, like the one I have, usually you have to like take more hits for longer because it doesn't combust all of the DMT at once.
Right.
And so you can just take one hit and then you don't have time to sit and think about it or get anxious about it.
Yeah.
You're just like
Yeah, that's how you
rush
gotta.
through it.
That's how you gotta do it. You know. One thing I do agree with Terrence. He said, I mean, to an extent, he said, low doses of DMT are a very ambiguous and really horrible experience, honestly. And you know, if I do
Yeah.
a few low doses of DMT, I realize I know what he's talking about. It's that
Yeah.
all it does,
Kind of
you just have this weird feeling, and your vision looks weird, and you have this weird
feels
physical feeling.
it feels like you're on like a very light dose of mushrooms for like 2 minutes.
Really, you have you like
Point.
yeah, like have you experienced like experimented specifically with low doses to just see what it feels like at lower doses and whatnot? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your opinion on what a low dose feels like in comparison to the breakthrough?
Um, so there's actually um, I'm sure you've seen this for yourself. There's a wide gradient, I'd say, of effects that begin to compound together into the experience as you raise the dosage.
Right.
And so, like, the higher you go, it will like incorporate all the lower levels and then include something else.
Right.
And then like get towards the breakthrough to like incorporate hyperspace, and then it'll also incorporate like the body euphoria and the visuals. Um,
When
but anyway, so low doses are like you you get a euphoria and you start entering into the headspace a little bit, but you kind of miss out on that feeling of deep understanding,
right.
and you don't really. You can kind of see like the beginning, like glimmerings of visuals.
Right.
They're very faint and not well defined.
How about opened eyes? What stuff look like to you with open eyes on a low dose?
So that's actually really interesting when that happens. I don't ever keep my eyes open for when I have breakthrough level doses.
Yeah.
That feels like it's like a bit too much and a bit too scary.
Wait, what the world looks like on a breakthrough?
Yeah.
No shit,
Kind of like,
dude.
I don't know. I'd rather like go to like the spirit dimension in my mind than watch like the room disassemble around you. You know.
Oh shit, man.
Like,
Yeah.
Have you done that yourself? Or?
Yes. I tried to like I tried to get a grip on reality because it hit me so hard. So like I took one hit. This is what I'm talking about with this pipe, and got basically fucking all of it, bro. Um,
All right.
and it hit me so quick. My eyes started watering, and everything was like melting and dematerializing immediately. And I remember I threw myself into the corner of the bed, like handed the pipe to my bro, and was like, "Dude, like I'm done, immediately done." And I had some,
That's enough.
yeah. I had some really interesting closed-eyed visuals, and it was all I saw an entity. It was this woman, this beautiful like young woman, and she was like really physically attractive, you know. But basically, it started getting so like just outrageous visually with my eyes closed. I sat up and opened my eyes and looked around the room like just in awe because of like what the fuck is happening, bro. I am so out of my mind right now. And I looked around the room, bro, and this is probably like a minute into that hit. And the fucking room is falling apart. And I mean that. I mean that to my core when I say that. Everything was turning into vibrations. Everything was like turning into these blurry vibrations that were there, and the room was literally falling in on itself with tracers and recursion of things. And I looked at my brother.
Dang.
I looked at my brother, and he was sitting there, and I don't know what real position he was in because of what I'm about to tell you. He had fucking multiple eyes all over his face that were like beady and looking around. He had multiple heads that were looking around. He had multiple arms that were doing things. One was just sitting there. The other one was like turning and reaching, and there was like thousands of him doing things in his spot. and I'm looking at him, and he's got all these eyes. It looks like and he's got thousands of arms that are doing these things. And oh my God, bro! I like his eyes were open too, bro.
Jeez.
And you know what he said? And might I say he's taken a strip of LSD before. He says, "I'm seeing acid visuals times a million right now." You know, with eyes wide open, looking around the room after just taking a huge dose.
Did he smoke DMT as well at
Yes.
that time? Or?
Yes, I hit it and threw myself away after, and he hit it after I handed it to him. Yeah.
It's dang dude, that sounds wild as fuck.
Then
sounds like.
Then we had
Were you,
basically. What's up?
Were you like unsettled by it, or were you like fascinated?
Just
What was your feeling?
awe. Like what the? We're chilling in the upstairs. We're chilling in the upstairs of my grandfather's house, and next thing I know, the fucking world is made of. I don't know how to describe it, bro. It was just so. It hit me so quick. It felt almost fake in how hard and out of my mind I was that quickly. I'm in this other fucking world, and yeah, like I said, I opened my eyes to like try to get a grip. Like, dude, you just smoked some DMT, bro. But yeah, the room was fucking destroying itself, really.
Right. Dang. And that's kind of when I talk to people about DMT, and especially people who are going to be like trying it for the first time, say that like when you take the hit, like close your eyes and like don't open them till it's over, because like that experience is like wild and it's cool, but it can also scare the hell out of you if you're like not prepared for it.
Yeah, because where's your world now?
Exactly.
Where's your reality now, bro?
It's nice to kind of have like your eyes as like a safety valve, like although like reality is still here around you when you come back down and you open your eyes, but if you open your eyes in the middle when the DMT is happening, then it's going to deconstruct everything you see around you.
That's what makes trips in silent darkness extraordinary, because your eyes are open and you're looking at black, but it's there. And whether you close your eyes or open your eyes, there it is, dude. And I've only done that one time, bro. And
oh yeah,
yeah, it was
fascinating.
fucking insane, bro. It was insane. It was there, like nuts visuals, bro. Like I didn't get too far into it because I got interrupted during it, which I actually have a trip report on. Yeah. But by the
worst thing that could happen.
By the last person you'd want to come in while you're doing that.
Oh no.
Yeah. And
I'll ask you about that in a second. But
yeah.
Who was it that walked in? Was it like your family or something?
Yeah. One of my, and you know what? I guess I'll just say it. He told me, because I was laying in my bed in pitch black. He says, "Northwood Shaman, you're having a dream. You're having a nightmare." And I say, "What?" Because I know what's going on. I see his silhouette. I see him standing right there. I know, and I'm fucking frying, bro. Like,
Jesus Christ.
And I say, "What?" And he goes, "I was out in the living room, and I heard you in your room. It sounded like you were laughing, and then it sounded like you were getting chased by someone. So I came to wake you up." And I say, like, okay. He's telling me what's happening. Okay. And I'm in here going, like, I'm speechless.
Yeah.
I got the pipe in this hand, the lighter in this hand, in the darkness, and I see his silhouette over there, and I'm like, and I'm like, okay. And he's like, "Maybe turn a light on or something. Love you, bud," and shuts the door. And sit up, I turn the light on, I'm still geeking, and
Whoa.
yeah, bro, it was
Damn. Holy shit.
Yep.
You dodged a literal bullet with
And
that
you know what?
one.
The entities did it. The spirit did it. The spirit didn't let him know why that was happening to
Oh
me.
yeah.
You know.
They're kind of looking out for your physical body in this dimension,
Right.
or
Oh wow.
your life experience in this
Wow.
plane.
Right. My role. My ego role.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's really interesting.
Dang, dude. That's I can't imagine what that's like being like
Yeah.
interrupted and trying to talk in the middle of a trip.
And
Like,
it's always the user's fault. The set and setting, of course. You know, that was just
mm-hmm.
horrible idea on my part.
Sometimes you just gotta.
You know, sometimes you just want to see hyperspace, bro.
Especially when you're like in the honeymoon phase and like you're really fascinated in the substance.
I had a honeymoon phase, and that was during it, bro. I would come home from
Yep.
I would come home from work and sit here and just do it slowly, get my way and do it, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I had a honeymoon phase that lasted for quite a long time. Actually, it was like several months. Um, I first smoked it in. I'm trying to remember. I think it was like December 2018 or something. After I'd had extensive experience with LSD and a small handful of mushroom experiences,
Mm-hmm.
and but I was able to get more consistent access to it in 2020 and this year 2021. And so basically from like May or April of 2020 through now, I've been able to like do it more consistently.
Yeah.
And for a couple months there, I was doing it very, very regularly, sometimes like every day.
Yeah.
And it actually ended with this one challenging experience I had, and I actually haven't done it in a while. I've been a little hesitant to go back just because I have some inner work to do in regards to this, and I was actually planning on making a video about this trip in particular. It's probably gonna be my next video, so I don't know how much into detail I'm going to get
Don't spill the beads.
exactly. Um, but I'll give you and everybody else a hint here. It's that I ended up I was in the honeymoon phase and I was experimenting, and I was using that vaporizer that I was telling you about before that you could load dry herbs into,
Yeah.
and the milligram scale that I was using to roughly measure it out, when I was measuring out the dose for this, it stopped working. Like it straight up broke. I was
Oh
like, okay,
God.
well, I'm just gonna eyeball the dose here. And thinking back now, I loaded up probably like an absurd amount of DMT into there, probably like 120 milligrams, like judging by eyeball,
Yeah.
from what I know now. And I was going through a breakthrough dose experience, and I ended up unintentionally traveling to the void, which is um, so like there are different like levels and different domains you can reach in DMT hyperspace, because like you can witness hyperspace opening and still not be in a breakthrough state, because you can still feel like you're like sitting down or laying down on the couch
Right.
when you're smoking it. Breakthrough begins when you can no longer feel yourself like sitting on the couch. You can no longer feel your human organism. Like the DMT hyperspace, that reality just completely takes over.
Mm-hmm.
But this trip in particular felt like it went way beyond that into some extremely high plane of consciousness, and it was kind of startling actually and unsettling, because I didn't
Dude,
know that I was going to go there.
I want to hear about this,
And
bro.
pure white. And I actually I wrote up a Reddit post after that came down just so I could like memorialize it and keep it in memory. But um, ever since then, I have been unable to use that same vaporizer to uh, smoke DMT out of because I just think back to that one experience I had where I unintentionally went to the void, and I just get this like intense fear, physical response throughout my body. It's the strangest thing. Um,
Hey, it's not
but
strange, man. It's normal. Um,
mhm.
like you
So
you don't know if you want to do this. You know, it's normal to feel like that, bro.
exactly, DMT itself is just like a very fear-inducing chemical. It's like you're having like a death experience every time you go into a reasonable dose. You know,
Yeah, I
would
feel
you agree
like
with that?
I agree that it can seem like the death experience, but I feel like a lot like there have been multiple times when I do DMT. Um, I'm all worried. I'm all scared. And I don't know how many experiences you've had going into DMT after a challenging experience, but you know, uh, like I'd have a bad trip on LSD or and be all scared of psychedelics, and I want to do DMT again, and I'm so fucking scared and so worked up and anxious, and I'm basically imagining what's gonna happen as if I can conceptualize it, and
Mm-hmm.
I say, you know, I hear Terrence in my head say, nature loves courage. Nature rewards courage by removing obstacles, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
so I take the hit, and it's as if I'm waiting for the DMT to do what I think it's gonna do, and it takes me and my whole package of BS and says it moves it to the side. It's like what I'm thinking and doing and what I am is besides the
Mm-hmm.
point and not the point. And you go back into it, and it's like it puts you to the side. At least like high doses, low doses, you definitely can still be there thinking about how you don't like this, but
Mm-hmm.
it's it's like the high doses take what you're bringing to it and make it
Mm-hmm.
irrelevant. It makes it seem irrelevant, and unless you are so fearful that the very occurrence of the experience is
Mm-hmm.
inducing the fear, um, I
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll be able to just it takes you through it. I like the idea that you don't do anything really. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you get brought through this experience, and you know I've been to what I would call the void, but you know it's very different than what you talk about. For me, it
Yeah.
was like I was dead. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
exist, bro. It was, you know, like what boring people think death is like. It was black. There was no consciousness. There was no body.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing existed. And then all of a sudden
Okay.
I heard leaves and felt my body and the
Mm-hmm.
wind blowing across my body and mosquitoes all around me, and I open my eyes and it's raining on my face, and I'm like, where the fuck just was I? And I'm still tripping balls. Everything's moving
Huh.
and shifting, and it's like,
Just,
where
just
was
all of
I?
a sudden you came to
Yes, but from
no
where?
recollection of yeah
You know
the
what I
past
mean?
couple of minutes.
Right, right. And I
Mm-hmm.
remembered the way it came on. It was like
Mm-hmm.
a blanket of black came down onto me and tucked itself under my body, and then I blacked out.
Mm-hmm.
I was gone. I
See.
the Icaros shaman chanting that I was listening to faded out. I didn't hear it anymore. Nothing existed. I was gone, you know. And you talk about a
Mm-hmm.
very alternative beyond the
Yeah.
beyond. To me, the beyond is like you're not even there anymore, dude. It's and you can't.
That's kind of what it was like. Yeah.
It's hard to work with those because what do you do with that? You're not
I think.
fucking present.
Yeah. I don't have any references for this at all, but I have heard people describe the different planes of consciousness and how there's different like dimensions to existence. Um, but the void is like one of the very fundamental levels of consciousness, and it can manifest in a couple different ways. In that it can be either just pure darkness or pure light.
Okay, so it can come on differently.
Yeah,
Right.
and I don't know why that is, but when I was in that, um, it felt like an extremely high plane of consciousness, um, and it was like the highest I'd ever been in my entire life. You know, that in and of itself was kind of scary. Just like it was more intense than any other DMT experience I'd had previously.
And as if it was all white, as if
Yeah.
the white was seemingly more intense. Did it sort of just startle you that nothing besides whiteness was happening, and you were like, "Oh shit, I fucked
Yeah.
myself this time."
Yeah, that was pretty much it. Yeah.
Yep.
And like that without spilling the beans too much, there was
Yeah, we'll shift here
this
soon.
like the whole experience of my life and remembering like what Shaman Tim had been doing for these many decades up until this point. That all disappeared. All there was this white space. There's no memory of previously having come into this white space. There's a sense of not wanting to be there, and it was also interesting because that spirit entity that I was telling you about, it followed me there, and it was talking to my locus of consciousness somehow, and it's saying the way what I had interpreted the message that it was giving me. It said like, "Whoa, man, you need to be careful. Like you did a little too much there," and it felt like it was helping bring me back in a
Right.
sense. And there are a couple different aspects to that, but um,
You know,
yeah,
I
I
want
just kind of sat in that white space for a couple minutes.
I want to share a quote from some Tibetan monk that I'm not sure of the name. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
your thing might be bobbing around just a little bit.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, I'm
No,
like
you're
shaking my leg here.
you're good, bro. You're good. Um, Terrence McKenna let a Tibetan monk try DMT, and he's
I actually know this quote. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, he said um, that is in response to the DMT trip he had. He said that is the farthest into the bardos that the human mind can go without not coming back. Is that the quote that you were remembering?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And
the lesser lights of the Bardo.
right. And you know what that tells me is that voice you heard was that thread. You know, that thread.
Mm-hmm.
120 milligrams deep into the DMT space. There's a thread of consciousness telling you, be careful, you went too far, you know, or you really did it this time. It knows a sense of the dilemma, you know?
Mm.
And this is what Timothy Leary means when he says, trust your nervous system. If you were amidst that trip and were to have acknowledged the fact that perception is apparent and that linguistic sort maybe not even linguistic but comprehensible information was being transcribed, be it white light,
Mm.
be it that voice that you heard,
Mm.
you're fine. If there is sense, you're fine. You know, it makes me think he would be blasted out of his mind on psychedelics. But the fact that he's still sensing is what kept him okay. Realizing, kind of like what you say when you keep your eyes closed and you say, I know the outside world is out here around me. It's this sort of affirmation. And his affirmation was, if I'm still sensing, bro, I'm fine. It doesn't matter what I'm sensing.
Yeah.
It means my nervous system is doing something. I'm alive.
Yeah. That's a really beautiful tether back to reality, actually. And I carry you back. I really like that. Um, yeah, I might start incorporating that piece of knowledge into trips going forward, actually.
That became me and my brother's compass. Trust your nervous system. That would I would be so fucking far out in my head and ego dissolution and this is scary. How does this stop, man? Like I wish I didn't do this. And it would always boil down to, look around. Here we are. You see? You're fine. And my bro does this little dance in front of me. He's like, "You're good, bro. Nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong." Hold on. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna go grab something right quick.
Sounds good, man.
Gotta keep my desires intact, bro.
What is that? Oh yeah. Nice. All right. I like it.
So yeah, I don't want you to keep talking too much about that experience because I get it. You want to make a good. Sometimes I get like that too. Like, oh, I can make a whole ass video on this.
Exactly. It's just more content, man. But no, thanks for I don't know. I guess thanks for just letting me talk about that for a second, because
Yeah, no problem, dude.
that was something I was kind of dealing with for the past while here.
If you want to, I don't know if it's empathize or sympathize. I don't know which one it is, but bro, close to a year ago, I thought I lost my fucking mind. I thought I was done for, and it wasn't even on a psychedelic. I took MDA, which is methylene dioxyamphetamine, and it's a slight
MDMA.
Right, it's a slight variant. It's before MDMA. MDA is the precursor to MDMA, and MDA is more psychedelic, is more trippy, has visuals. It's more serotonergically active in the way psychedelics are, rather than the amphetamine-driven rush that is MDMA or Molly. So I was like, I want to try this MDA thing. I want to see what empathogens are like, but I also want it to be the trippy headspace I'm used to.
Exactly.
Right. I did it once. It was awesome. It felt great. Everything was saturated and beautiful looking, and rubbing myself all over everything felt great, dude. Like, just as you'd expect. It feels so like, damn, bro, this feels so good. I get why people do this shit. And then one night, once again with my brother, I took a dose, and then there was this rock. It was powdered. It was rocks that I had to crush up, and there was this one rock that didn't get crushed up, and I was like, I'm gonna put that back. That's, I don't need to take that. And my brother, this fucking devil, was like, come on, bro, you're just limiting yourself. Just do it. Why you gotta limit yourself like that? So in a sort of cocky, all right, I take the rock, put it in my mouth, and eat it. Crunch it up and eat it. A rock of fucking
man.
MDA.
Slam.
Bro, first of all,
And it was wild.
let's just say I don't even know if that was MDA. That's how little harm reduction was done on this. But in about 20 minutes, uh, I felt like I was coming up harder on this than I had on anything ever. It completely overweighed psychedelics. It completely outdid any ever experience I'd ever had. And what was happening was my vision was completely blurry. I couldn't see anything. Everything was this wishy-washy field of blur. And I started feeling dissociated, more like a weird type of dissociation where it feels like I'm not even in reality anymore. This is a dream. This is fake.
So everything became like a blurry watercolor painting.
Yeah, really. It was just all this blurry, wishy-washy. And all of a sudden I started sweating profusely. I said to my brother, I was like, dude, I'm so hot. I started getting hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter. And I kept saying, I'm so hot, bro. I'm sweating. And he would look at me and he's like, dude, you're not sweating. And he said within like 2 minutes of me saying that, he looked over and my whole body is soaking in sweat. Every inch of my body is soaking wet. And I got to a point where I thought I was dying. I thought, I got this weird drug from this guy. It's not what he said it is. I took too much of it, and I'm fucking dying. I'm over. My heart is gonna overheat. My body's gonna overheat. My heart's gonna race so fast it stops, and I'm gonna be out for the count. And I went through this insane, like giving up my life. I was giving up my life. I was.
Damn, that's really intense.
I was trying to let go, bro, but what I was doing was regretting everything. Why did I do this? I was just trying to get high, and now I'm gonna fucking die because I got fucked up. And I did too much of this stupid thing, and I knew I shouldn't have done this, and all this regret. And I was high on it for about 2 days. A day to almost 2 days.
Dang.
And
was it like gradually like decreasing in intensity?
Yes,
or?
yes. The first, I think I had a panic attack during the peak, and that's what I call the overwhelmingness. And maybe that's what it was. I had a severe psychedelic panic attack. But yeah, the following week to 2 weeks after that experience, I was extremely unsettled. I couldn't be sitting here right now talking to you without feeling like I'm drifting into psychosis. It was very startling. I thought I had messed my head up, and I started.
Sounds like.
What's that?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, what were you gonna say?
I'm gonna stop interrupting you.
No, you're good, dude. You're good. But I thought I fucked my head up, and I didn't know what reality was. There was all this around me, but it didn't seem like the stable reality. And it was like I would shift off into this nowhere. Like, where am I? What is this? And it would feel like I'm not anywhere and I'm not grounded. And I started listening intensely to Ram Dass because he was my. That's not when I started listening to him, but I remember during that time of feeling like I completely lost my fucking mind. He was my hold on reality, you know. And he talks about there's nowhere to stand. There's nowhere to stand. And boy, that's what it felt like. I was nowhere. There was nowhere I was. And I was just existing, and I felt very scared because, like, and I would randomly, like you talked about the physical reaction, I would get very, very tight and immediate fear. And I started getting afraid of spirituality. At first it was psychedelics. Then I started getting afraid of spirituality itself, looking into the mind. Because the second I'd look into the mind, I would tighten up and get freaked the fuck out and not, like, just confused, bro. And it was very strange.
Maybe because you started to associate that with trying to stay grounded when you were
in that experience.
In that experience.
Yeah, man. That probably. If I didn't get a little bit of psychosis, what happened was I got traumatized. I experienced trauma from that experience, and it lasted. It did last a while, and the reason I did a little bit of DMT in that video was because of my fear that has grown out of that experience, because I got so far out that it scared my fucking socks off, and I didn't know if I ever wanted. I threw the rest of it in the trash. I threw like a gram of MDA in the trash because I was like, I do not want to be there again. That was horrifying.
Well, yeah, you had literally no idea how much MDA you took in that one experience.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So it's probably safe to assume, well, if you took your MDMA in like a rock form, you probably got like massive overdose of what you actually needed to have a good time.
Yes.
I very much empathize with you for being stuck in that, because when you're handling a psychedelic experience is fine because you know you're going to come down probably the same day, unless you just completely and totally inundate your system with LSD or something. That's different, but that's a special case. But to be stuck in that state for 2 days, that does a real number on your psyche.
When I say I was on it for 2 days, what it was that I didn't feel sober for about 30 to 40 hours. My pupils were dilated. I remember the next day, me and my brother went and were walking around some store, and he had taken it with me, but he didn't freak out. I looked at him, and his pupils were still pinned, and I'm like, dude, it's been like almost 18 hours. What the fuck did we do? Because he was there when I lost my mind.
Did he take a comparable amount to what you did, or
he took? I eyeballed the same doses for us, but I took the rock. I ate a rock, and if I was to crush it up, it'd probably be another quarter of the dose I took initially. And I didn't crush it, so I didn't see how much powder it was, and I just, you ever chewed up a rock of fucking drugs, dude? Don't.
Probably not a good idea.
Don't. It's chemicals. You are fucking with chemicals, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah. And yeah, I very much empathize with you for having gone through that, and I also think that it's important to reflect on those experiences and like why that particular thing happened. So I think something in common with both of our stories is that we went for this stupid high dose without thinking about it or measuring it, which is just does have consequences, believe it or not. And it's also a good idea to, if you're still interested in like the psychedelic space, or just generally getting loaded on substances, to reintroduce yourself back into the experience on very light doses.
That's what I was shooting for in that video, homie. And it was, not only do I think it's what you should do, because you'll do it and you'll remember it's okay. Because you're not gonna get. I mean, I can't guarantee it because you're not my fucking experience, but I did that little dose, and all I can say is I wanted to break through. I got into that little, just starting to feel it, and if you see me in the video, dude, I'm rolling around, I'm feeling it, and it's like I wanted to hurl myself into it. But no, that gradual introduction again, I think is definitely the way to go when it's been a little while. And it could even be do a little bit and then a few hours later do the breakthrough, because your brain doesn't necessarily produce a tolerance to DMT the way it does with normal drugs.
That's the beautiful thing about DMT, isn't it? It's that there's virtually no tolerance whatsoever.
Right? And typically, unlike other compulsive redose drugs, if you can do 5 smoked DMT trips in a day, You're fucking wild, bro. You got a lot of energy. You got a lot of fuck. You know, I've done it. I've done it 2, maybe 3 times, maybe 4 times in a day. But that was like at the end of the day. Like, barely do I ever do more than 2 trips in a single time. You know, but you fucking can if you want. You know.
Yeah, exactly. I've read stories of people who they come down off one blast off and they just immediately load up the pipe again and go right back into it.
Bro, I've loaded up the pipe while I'm watching it morph and melt, and you know what I mean. I have no clue how much I'm putting into it because me and my brother are just in this psychedelic rush to just fucking disappear into it. And he's like looking at me like, dude, put more in it. And I'm like, okay, I'll fucking do it, dude. Open my jar. You know what I mean? Just so.
Yeah.
It's such a dream. It's so far out when you get in that space and everything's falling apart. And you. Sometimes a courage comes over you. Like, what the fuck am I so scared of? Let's go, dude. Let's do it, bro. You know. But I think when you have an experience like you, there was. And not to pin you, because I do it all the time. I have done it many times. It's like your package that you bring, you know. And this is where we could shift into a spiritual sort of conversation, because what you bring to the DMT plays a big part. What that voice said to you amidst your void is conceptually based, you know.
For sure, yes.
That you think there is a base reality, and that you are somebody in that base reality, is why the void was scary, you know. And if you weren't under the impression that you are somebody somewhere, there would be no connection to any sort of event that takes place, you know. And that's where the spiritual side of not only the experiences themselves but the integration of them becomes, I feel comfortable saying, dire. Because in order to withstand those realms, you know, because we're not stupid, and it's stupid people that psychedelics don't work on. If you're stupid,
right.
the people that can just get high and no matter, they could take 3 pounds of mushrooms and, damn, dude, I was so fucking high, bro. It's like, you know, I think spiritual, a healthy philosophy of the mind, and learning how the psychology works, and learning, you know, I don't want to say strictly Buddhism, but Eastern mysticism, that you are this little ego with all these attachments, you know, and that's where all your problems come from. That's where it's all coming from. It's all coming out of the roots. If you cut the top off, it's just going to grow again from the roots. And the roots are your ego, who you think you are, you know, and
your mind-based sense of self.
Right, mind-based, and your dare I say, true self seems to be based in everything. Seems to be based in the wind, in the colors, in the textures, in the feelings, in the sounds, in the emotions, and everything, and it's all this one dance, you know.
Absolutely, anything and everything you can perceive.
Everything.
So, yeah, I agree 100% with what you're saying, and no, I haven't really talked about spirituality too much on my channel or up in this conversation up until this point.
Right.
But that was actually the journey I started first, before I got into psychedelics.
You were on a spiritual journey, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's taken me to a lot of different places, and I have finally settled in as like a Buddhist, and had that experience of egolessness and the insight into what the self is, but no,
Was
I've
it
done
through
this myself
meditation?
as a practitioner. Yes.
That's to me that's impressive. To me that's impressive because I have a very hard time meditating. I mean,
It's not easy,
at least
especially for an intelligent person such as yourself, because
right, your mind's racing, bro. You know everything. You're so conceptually broad that your
yeah,
mind
when
doesn't shut the fuck up.
when you have when you possess a lot of intelligence like you do, then your mind has so much power and momentum that uh, as long as like your body is functioning, it's going to function. Your mind is going to function like a powerhouse,
Right.
and it takes a lot of consistent effort to kind of like bring in the reins and hold it back
Yeah,
and hold
dude.
it still and observe it, because it's just gonna the instant you lose that like intense focus, it's just gonna run off like a wild horse.
Yeah, dude, and it could even be as sneaky and slimy and tricky as I'm focusing right now. I'm doing a good job focusing. I'm
Exactly.
meditating. Ooh, I think it's working, you know. And you know, the easiest time in my experience, the easiest times I've gotten into meditation, which I would just wholesomely describe as a very open and okay place, is when I just all of a sudden found myself sitting down. The hardest times of meditation are when I feel like I ought to meditate. I should I'm going to sit down and meditate. That's when it's not meditation. But when your physical being gets into the position and is just and you're conscious and it's all here and it's all present and you're okay with it and there's nothing to be done and you're not even that's not even what you're choosing to do. I feel like that's the easiest way to drift into meditation is when you just do it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yo,
I agree.
if you'll give me a second, bro, I'm gonna go snag some coffee. I'm gonna go snag some
All
coffee real
right,
quick.
that sounds good.
Yeah, dude,
I'm
you
gonna go use the restroom really quick.
good,
This
good. I'm
is a
glad you
good
got.
place to take a break.
Fuck yeah, dude. Yeah, you can edit this out if you want. And for my viewers, I'm not gonna edit this, so you can skip ahead like 30 seconds, a minute. I'll be right back.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I'll be right back, bro.
Same.
So you've been mentioning it a few times
Great.
throughout. You've been mentioning it a few times throughout this talk. Hyperspace,
Mm-hmm.
and it comes off. It comes off to me as is this specific, so be it dimension or range of
Mm-hmm.
consciousness. And I guess I want to ask you, um, because although every time I do DMT, I have a DMT trip, um,
Okay.
and I do sometimes think there is a range of the experience. It's not. It doesn't seem as easy or as viable to um, fixate it. I can't fixate what's happening, and I want to ask you, what is this hyperspace? Because I've heard and watched videos about it, and that it's based around the perceptions of three-dimensional space and the ways in which the geometry that you're seeing can come in. So yeah, like
Okay.
when you say hyperspace, what are you talking about?
Yes. So, I don't know if you saw it or not, but actually, I did make a video about DMT hyperspace.
I think I
That was the
kind of
last
watched
video.
it.
Yeah, it's a shorter one that I made. So, um, when I refer to hyperspace, it is, I guess it's more consistent for me because all my trips tend to go about the same.
Which is very
And like
interesting.
I told you about, yeah, just that in and of itself is an oddity. Um, but hyperspace is kind of like space, the dimension of reality that your consciousness crosses over into at the higher dose range, and it's where you start to see these abstract shapes folding and morphing in additional dimensions. And it's really difficult to pin down, and we can't really adequately describe it. Like, I cannot use words to describe it to you so that you could picture it in your mind and you would understand it for yourself, or couldn't do that with anybody else for that matter. And because we as humans in this dimension of reality, in this now moment, we're more or less living in the three dimensions of space that we can ordinarily perceive and the one dimension of time. But I'm speaking because when you get into hyperspace, it'll be clear and obvious because there will be shape shifting in dimensions in addition to the third dimension. And it's not something you can really imagine or remember after the trip is over because we have no frame of reference for understanding these higher dimensional spaces because we inhabit this third dimensional reality.
Yes.
So that's hyperspace specifically refers to that place that your locus of consciousness goes to when you hit that higher dose range and you start to see that. And
Wow.
yeah, that's
Me and
in a nutshell.
my brother had this. 2 days after I uploaded that video of me smoking a little bit of DMT, me and my brother,
Mm-hmm.
I asked my brother if he wanted to go and do DMT out in the woods, and I loaded it up pretty good because I intended to have a nice deep experience, but I, I bitched out with how big of hits I was taking, and essentially he got the big hits. And there was this, we were working our way into it. We were passing it back and forth, and I would take a controlled egoic hit, and he would just put it right to it, and I could tell he was trying to get as big as a hit as he could.
Hmm.
And he starts closing his eyes and feeling his body and stuff, and then he puts his hands over his eyes, and that's usually what we do when we're really trying to see the closed-eyed world, because the light
Yeah,
can seem to interfere with what you're seeing. Like
for sure.
if you go like this on a break like on with intense visuals out in daylight, you'll see things shifting around because you're still moving. So in that deep darkness is where it really resides. But yeah, he told me after that initial trip we had, he was like, dude, DMT is the only drug that, like, if you do too much of it at once, you disappear for a while. And I thought that was such a spooky and cool and exciting statement because I know what he's talking about. And he had this very...
That's pretty much how you define breakthrough.
Right.
Really.
Right.
That, yeah.
Like, he told me he disappeared for a minute. He's like, when I had my hands in my eyes, bro, like, I was watching these... He said it was tons of lines. It was tons of lines, bro. And kind of like this dimensional thing you're talking about. He was like talking about, that was a fractal trip, dude. And he said he lost all sense of space and time for a short amount of time. You know, he was just in this world of fractals for a short period of time. And if it was a breakthrough, he just knocked on the door and then came back down. Because we were passing the pipe back and forth, you know, so he couldn't keep going. I couldn't force him to keep going or any of that stuff. He just started to see, I suppose, what you call hyperspace. You know, I've seen those.
Has that ever occurred to you in your trips before? Like, has that intuition occurred to you that you were witnessing extra-dimensional space? Extra-dimensional objects?
See, I am not very akin with, or not akin, but in tune with physics and math, and simply at first because I wasn't good at it, and now because I just don't engage myself with it. So the ideas of the dimensional spaces in which these hallucinations are taking place comes off more to me as a drive that you bring into it, an analysis that you bring into it, like a type of scientist. Like, what you are observing is how the three-dimensional world is performing while your subjective consciousness is on dimethyltryptamine. And you come to the realization, which is probably based in the facts of geometry and space and time, that this is what we would know as hyperspace, where dimensions, there are multiple dimensions. But to talk about what I guess conceptualize it to be, I see it, dude. I see it. I've seen it too. I've seen the roll. I love the way you describe the rolling, morphing, because yeah, dude, it's like
continuously shifting.
Yeah, like at first, like the other, like I said it in that video, it looked like camouflage. It was all this weird rolling, and it looked like belts of light and auras and strands, and beautiful, so beautiful. And what I often think to myself is, you know, things of what is this? What is this energy? Where is this? How am I able to be seeing this? You know, and yes, it when you talk about hyperspace, I know exactly what you're talking about, because the ways in which the hallucinations perform is not
mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's not linear with how we define reality and spaces and the dimensions like that, you know, the
dimensions and extensions in space.
Right, that stuff. It's like they're.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm thinking of what the dimensions. You know, let me try to think about that. what the dimensions seem like to me on DMT. Because I was just about to say, it's like there is no space on DMT, but there kind of is. There kind of does appear to be space, you know.
Mm-hmm. It's a weird kind of like internal space, but it's
Right.
definitely there. And yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember which philosopher said this, and I'm probably gonna butcher the quote, but I took a philosophy class when I first got into college, like many years ago, and I found that class extremely fascinating, and it were because they were defining very fundamental features of our human reality here, and they were thinking about like how things have dimension in space, and that said like for objects to exist they need to have extension in space. And I thought that was a really interesting idea. So like to bring this analogy into DMT hyperspace, you witness extension of these objects. They have certain lengths and widths and shapes, and, and you can see them rotating and shifting and shaping in the usual 3 dimensions like we're used to. Like you can see geometrical shapes like squares, triangles, but then they also shift in like additional dimensions. So then we know that they have extension in different higher dimensions, and we know they're either higher or beyond, or it's really hard to find a word to
I
describe
know
this
when you talk about the additional dimensions in which they do their thing, I feel like that little circle on your video that you talk, that I forget what it's called. Do you know what I'm talking about?
little circle on
The little 2-dimensional guy that goes to 3 dimensions.
Oh yeah. The movie. Yeah.
I feel like that guy because it's like I know what you're talking about, but then again I don't because I'm that 3-dimensional guy. But it's is it that the way it appears to be impossible to an extent that it makes us that it gives us the notion that it's an extra dimension of space or time, because like
Sorry, go ahead.
like when I described that. Oh wait. Oh no. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I don't see your video feed anymore.
Hold on, is my phone? Yeah, my phone just died because my charger's trash.
Uh-oh.
That's fine. We can still see you, and it's turning on right now.
Alrighty. You can just continue with the audio conversation.
Right.
It's not too big a deal, I suppose.
Hold on, let me get a grip on what I was saying real quick, and I think my cam will be right back.
But I understand what you're saying though, and that yes, it is kind of. It does seem like it's impossible, or well, again, it's hard to find a word to describe this phenomenon when you're witnessing it, because it's a new version, it's a new manifestation of reality that you were not able to witness before, and that you don't have any frame of reference for like understanding it.
Right.
And it's to witness these new dimensions is so mind-blowing that that's what gives DMT its power to astonish and confound us.
Right.
So that's my argument, at least. But
that the way in which it performs
yes,
conveys to us impossible
new reality that it shows open to us is something that we did not have entirety of our human lives up until the point where we did consume DMT.
Do you think that um, doing things like ayahuasca or maybe even mushrooms, because it is a form of DMT, I believe 5-hydroxy dimethyltryptamine or something like that. But do you feel like ayahuasca doesn't give you access to hyperspace in the same way that smoked freebase DMT does?
Um, I think it can, um, based on what I've heard from people. You'd probably have to take a large amount of ayahuasca to get to that breakthrough state. Um, but then when you do that, you're kind of be stuck in the ayahuasca experience for several hours, as opposed to the smoke DMT, where like you visit that place for 10 minutes and then you're back, so it's a little bit more manageable. But I only have very limited experience with ayahuasca.
Have you done it?
I did farmahuasca
No
one
shit,
time.
bro. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
How was that?
I did it. It was it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. Um, I did it myself, and I actually used the ayahuasca vine. Um, so it was the legitimate experience, and I didn't do enough to see profound visions or go to hyperspace, but it was like a light DMT trip with lots and lots of euphoria.
Really?
That and another big factor of that trip was that it felt like I had a constant, sustained connection with my DMT spirit entity, which then I equated to being Mother Ayahuasca.
Oh
And
shit, man.
it was gorgeous. It made me want to do the real thing.
As in,
And
what, like do real ayahuasca?
yeah, like real ayahuasca brewed by like a South American native shaman.
Shaman Tim, would you go down to an ayahuasca retreat with me at some point in our lives?
Uh, fuck yeah,
Fuck
man.
yeah.
That'd be amazing.
That would be nuts, bro. You know,
Is that something on your bucket list or?
it's something that I've said to myself. I'm not going to go out and do it as another activity. But if I just so happen to find myself in the Amazon about to drink ayahuasca, I'm not gonna not do it. So it's
All
more,
right,
it's more, it's
interesting.
yeah, it's more this idea of if my karmic path leads me towards it, if I just, if it just happens, there I'll be, and
Mm,
and that will be the ayahuasca experience, and that's kind of how like a lot of my trips go. I get this weird primal calling to, it brings me towards it, and usually I'm very fearful and like just ignore and distract myself from the urge and desire to trip, which is generally always there. That yearn to want to trip is there, but
mm,
I psych myself out a lot and get very, I don't need to do it
yeah,
right now. I need to do this, or
it's like something beyond you calls to you, and you just receive this intuition that it's time to go back into this dimension.
yes, exactly, homie, exactly. And sometimes
Mm,
uh, my ego doesn't want to hear it. Sometimes my ego doesn't want to hear it, even though my ego is desiring to go into it. You know, it
mm-hmm.
also is fearful and doesn't want to be feeling that sort of calling. But sometimes I give way, and I realize that it's time to do it. It's time to do it, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like I'm a ghost drifting around prior to doing it because I'm just on this autopilot of grab the pipe and put a dose in and sit down and breathe and then just smoke it. And it's like, yeah, it's like I'm on autopilot, and I try to let my ego to the side because it's always like a reward when you get back in there. It's always like you feel silly. You feel like you shouldn't have made such a big deal about it. You know, you feel,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
There's a sense of that when you get back into it.
like how much love and like yeah, how much love do you feel during some of your trips? Like, is that sometimes what you describe as the euphoria? Is that
Yes.
yeah?
Well, yeah. There's kind of two things going on there. Like there's a bodily euphoria, and then there can also be like a deep, intense, universal love that accompanies these psychedelic states. And to me, that doesn't happen all the time. But have you had experiences like with that kind of like deep, universal, all-inclusive love of everything? No, I'm probably not wording this the best.
No, you're good, dude. And yo, just to check, like your recording is still fine right now. You just can't see me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Looks
Okay.
like my recording is still going.
Same here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
my phone's basically shit in the bed. But you know, yes, I have felt intense love and euphoria and happiness amidst the experience because it's like it just brings you back to the rush and the bliss that is life, and you realize that you are, and that you know, in a sort of weird trust fall, you always will be, and there's nothing to worry about. And yeah, it's this very warm and childlike and melting into everything feeling of, you know, it's hard.
yeah.
It's hard to sit straight and contain yourself while you're feeling it because you want to just be rolling around, moaning
so much
at how
enthusiasm and zest for life and your experiences
yeah.
here in this existence.
Like, have you ever had the trips where you're rolling around going, "Oh my god, holy shit, this shit is nuts"? Like I remember a trip like 1-2 years ago on DMT, and all I remember is I'm sitting there going, "This shit's fucking crazy. This shit is fucking crazy." To myself, I'm alone out in the woods, you know, and it's that I think that's the losing yourself to astonishment, as Terrence McKenna calls it, rather than keeping your cool. Yeah, because you very well.
It is definitely fun to do that from time to time.
Yeah, right, homie, and just be blissed out of it for sure, bro.
I've actually had that experience. I have had that on DMT for sure, where I have just like deep love and appreciation for life.
Right.
But as far as like that, I find it to get deeper actually when I'm on either high doses of LSD or mushrooms, and it feels like I can kind of stay in that state for longer, so it's more intense and it kind of has like a longer lasting effect on your life after you experience it.
Yeah, as far as love and compassion, and honestly, psychological teachings, LSD is a fucking powerhouse, bro. Like,
It's actually my favorite.
is it really? I thought, you know, with your YouTube channel being about what it's about, I thought you were the DMT wizard, like you said. Like, oh no, DMT is where it's at.
It's shocking news, and I had to bring it down to everybody, but no. Sorry, folks, but I don't mean to devalue the status of DMT
Not
because
at all, man.
DMT is DMT is beautiful and paradigm shattering and uh, incredibly insightful, um, and it's very sacred, and it's the substance I respect the most out of everything. But if I'm looking to like have fun or learn a whole lot, then LSD is definitely better for
That's
that.
so awesome, bro. You know, like, I really am just realizing that, like, as if LSD is your favorite. You know, I thought DMT was your teacher, but no, I feel the same fucking way, bro. To the point, to the extent that I recommend DMT as a starter psychedelic over LSD and mushrooms. Um,
Yeah,
and not as much so.
I understand what you mean.
Right, right. Not as much so for the content of the trip, but the duration. Somebody, somebody who doesn't want, like the way I always put it is, with DMT, you're gonna realize you either like or don't like psychedelic headspaces within 60 seconds, within 1 minute. And if you don't like it, you know, bear it, and you're fine because it'll be over in 5 to 10 minutes. But if you do like
Yep.
it, you're fine. But the thing with edible psychedelics, typically that's usually why it lasts so long. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you are starting to realize that you either like it or don't like it as it's just beginning, and you still have
Mm-hmm.
hours typically to go. And somebody who realizes
Yep.
they don't like psychedelic headspaces, say 45 minutes into a tab of acid, oh, get ready, bud. Get fucking ready, bro, because you are gonna trip. You're gonna trip balls, and you're gonna
There's
hate it.
no getting off this ride once it starts, man.
Yeah, it's
Like
fucking crazy.
once
I've had those
once
trips.
the tab hits your tongue, like there, it's you're in. There's no
Yeah,
stopping it.
dude, you know that fucking feeling, bro. You know that feeling of, all right, here we go. You can't go back now. Like,
You know, it's actually really interesting because like I don't have any fear or hesitation going into LSD whatsoever. And I
really.
regularly do like doses that I describe as like enlightenment breakthrough level doses.
What's the most LSD you've ever taken?
So that's hard to quantify actually, but I have a couple stories. Uh, Um, I'll try to keep it concise here. So the first LSD trip I ever had, I posted a video about this where I just rambled into the camera for a while. Um, but it was actually one of the first times I ever had a psychedelic trip. Period. And like I kind of knew what I was getting myself into. I didn't know fully, and my hookup at the time said that, "Oh, hey man, like I got some acid. You want to try this?" I was like, "Hell yeah, I want to try it. Like, let me have some of that." And I got 3 tabs, and I decided to do it one night, overnight. And I was thinking about how much to take, and I took all 3.
Oh no,
And
bro.
I didn't test it. I didn't know how strong it was. Um, and this is like the first time ever I had done LSD, and I was kind of reading up on it, and I was like, "Oh, I'll probably be fine." Like,
Hold on, hold on. I
and
didn't catch the beginning of this. Had you done psychs before that?
I I had done mushrooms one time, but I had only done like 1.5 grams, so it
Okay,
was very
okay.
very light.
All right, carry on.
This was sometime after that, and so I did it overnight. I started the trip at like 11 p.m. or something ludicrous like that.
Damn, dude, you're gonna be up in the
Um,
morning.
exactly, because there are a bunch of reasons for it, but like I was short on time, and that was the time I had, and I was like, let's just fucking
Let's
do it.
fucking do it, bro.
And thinking back, like I've had
Yep. Yep.
was having intense closed eye visuals, and I felt like something or someone kind of showed my consciousness the quantum realm because I was hallucinating, and this understanding came over me that what I was seeing was like the smallest level of our physical reality, and I saw all these strings connecting to each other, vibrating, like string theory.
Oh
Um,
shit, bro.
yeah,
To be
so
having like
wild.
extraordinary that I like just without even words, I can feel the energy coming off of the screen right now of what you're telling me, bro. Because I know that
Have,
fucking.
have you have you been that far into LSD yourself, or
I can't say so. I can't say so,
uh,
man. But I have been to the point. And you know what? You know what? LSD, open-eyed, intense LSD visuals
mm-hmm.
are able to blow my mind more so than DMT breakthroughs because I'm not there in the same way. I'm not there on DMT in the same way I am on LSD. And on LSD, like the time I remember specifically, like I said in the beginning, I took 2.5 tabs. They weren't perforated. It was paper, just white paper, white on white.
Okay.
That's what they call it, bro. That like my brother, this guy we work with, my brother started talking to him, and he was your key wook, fucking hippie, bro, dreads. You know what I mean? Like he was the whole deal, bro. And
Yeah.
yeah, it turns out he had the most fire LSD like we had both ever witnessed. But yeah, I had that ego death actually, that extraordinary ego death that my brother guided me through, really, that I talked about earlier. The week following that experience, my brother was like, "Bro, now that you've moved through the ego death, you can take it and enjoy it, and take a higher dose so you can really see it this time." He says, this isn't verbatim, but this is the essence of what he's telling me. You've gotten through your ego death. Now you can really look at it and just enjoy it because you don't have to get caught up in your head. So I took close to 3 tabs, probably, like I said, 2.5. Way
So
bigger
very
than,
slightly less than three.
right, way bigger than what I should be, what I want to be taking. It's a huge piece of paper. I can't really.
They're so small already. There's
Well,
can't really judge. The
yeah,
tabs
yeah.
themselves aren't really small, so
Um, but yeah, I took it, and my brother was playing GTA or something, and I remember I was sitting on the bed behind him, and I'm watching him play GTA, and he's driving this. I start to feel stoned, which is weird on LSD because I usually feel stimulated. I start to
yeah.
feel baked, bro, like edible baked, like. And I'm sitting there, and I'm leaning back, bro, and my eyes are chilling, dude. And my brother looks back at me. He's like, "Bro, you look like you're like high." I was like, "Yeah, dude, I'm just really relaxed, bro. It's weird how like chill I'm feeling right now." Because it was weird. It was like a downer, depressing, dude. I'm chill.
That's extremely bizarre.
Very bizarre. And then I start watching him play GTA, and I start realizing that I everything is flowing and morphing. Like, I was looking at the screen, and he's driving this car down the road, and plants were growing out of the side of the road and then disappearing, and things were passing over each other, and the road was mingling into the street, and it became incomprehensible. I was looking at the TV screen, and I couldn't tell what the fuck I was looking at. It looked like this mangled, just image of moving lights and colors, and it was all just. And I'm like, holy fuck, bro. It's only been like 30 minutes. And dude,
Damn.
I remember I looked down at my hand, the classic look at your hand, and my fingerprints were literally rolling. It looked like the ocean. My hand looked like the ocean, bro. It looked like my fingerprints were blowing around my hand. And I'm looking at it real time, fucking 45 minutes into an acid trip, the highest dose I've ever taken, and I am jaw dropped like immediately, bro. I'm looking at this like this is fucking insane. And I look at the bed, and it looks like the blanket is literally running off the fucking bed, bro. I'm looking at it, and it's like moving. It's like it's the fucking ocean, dude. And this was the first time I had ever witnessed those visuals. Realize that I had never seen the real life and intensity that LSD visuals can be. I had just had good, nice distortions and seeing patterns coming out of what you're looking at, and everything looking just weird and fucked up. But I had never seen things being born out of what I'm fucking looking at, and everything is moving like and dude,
Everything moves.
everything, dude, it's nuts. It really is nuts. And I puked because probably a few months before that trip, I had a DMT trip where, dude, I took a hit and I coughed, and instead of coughing, I gagged. You know, like if you get too much of a bong rip or something and you do the gag cough. I did that, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, I felt a knot in my stomach as I'm coming up on a huge hit of DMT. And I proceed to puke as I'm beginning to peak on this trip. And I remember it. I was wearing mala beads, and I was seeing the mala beads like flowing through my stream of puke, and everything's wish-washy, and I'm like moving all around. Everything looks like a fucking. It looks like lightning bolts. Everything looks like lightning bolt trees. Everything's static and fucked. And my brother's like, "Are you good, bro?" I'm like, "Yeah, I just puke my fucking brains out, I guess." But yeah, what came to my head was I was looking at these LSD hallucinations, and I'm saying, this is how hard I was tripping on DMT when I puked. And right when I said that, bro, I felt a ball of nausea form in my stomach. And it was like, shit, bro, I gotta puke. And I run to the fucking toilet, and I puke into the toilet, and those visuals alone were like insane. It was like rainbow puke and the bubbles, and it was nuts.
And even your puking is psychedelic and it looks beautiful.
Yes! I had this hilarious thought that you could look at a pile of dog shit on 5 tabs of acid, bro, and it would be God. You could literally look at a pile of poop.
You can see the beauty in it. Like, oh, this is a precious substance right here.
I like the guy that's laying on the ground looking at a bottle of spilled Coke on LSD. You know, that's such a vibe, man. That's such a fucking vibe.
Yeah, man. But LSD is it's definitely the most fun you can have on any substance, I'd argue. And especially out of the psychedelics, it's probably the most fun.
Right.
But there's a lot of things you need to get right for that experience to go right. And like every single time I go into it, I have like a preparatory routine that I follow for like a week before going into it. And because of the potential nausea being a factor, like I I assume that you'd probably eaten something earlier in the day.
I probably did. I probably did.
I don't know
Probably McDonald's.
I see. But yeah, I will not eat solid food for 24 hours before. Well, no, it's more like 12 or 16 hours. I'll like start
Wow.
fasting, and then the morning of, I'll have like a protein shake, collagen, coconut oil tea that will like hold the hunger over, and then go into it just on an otherwise empty stomach.
Wow, dude,
Um,
that's treating your body fucking right for an experience like that. I bet you have
uh,
some incredible experiences.
yeah, man. I actually I had another incredible one not too long ago where I finally hit the dosage just right. And when I do it, I'm always with a couple buddies of mine, which
Yeah.
is a lot of fun. Just being in a group of people. But like I'll get everything right. We'll do it at like a reasonable time in the morning, and we won't eat anything. And then I'll put on like this incredibly trippy. I like listening to like techno-ish trippy music,
Yeah.
just kind of dancey.
Fast
Like
BPM.
yeah,
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah.
I can show you some examples, but there's this one band I really found I like called Vessels.
Yeah.
Um, they're on Adult Swim a lot, but um, when when you get everything just right and you go for those high doses and you feel fucking amazing. Like I would describe it as an enlightenment experience where you can have like the best meditation you've ever had in your life, and you'll like see into ego death and maintain that state
Right.
easily and consistently. And
What kind of dose does this happen on? Like, what kind of dose do you like to
so
take? Yeah.
that's another thing where it's kind of problematic as far as LSD goes, because every single batch you get is going to be different, and it's really hard to judge exactly what dosage you're getting.
For sure.
Most of the dosage that goes around the street nowadays, I remember I read some kind of analysis on this that I think the DEA published. They said that the average hit of LSD on the street today is probably around 100 micrograms.
Yep.
And in my experience, I found that to be true. But I've also had batches of LSD that feel like at least double or triple that strength.
Right, dude. Right.
And you've probably experienced this yourself. Like
100%.
you'll take one, and it's like, whoa, I feel like I'm on like three of something
Yeah,
else. Like,
dude. Yeah. Um.
so
The,
of the standard hits, I'd say it's hard to judge. On the strong sheets, I like to do 2.5 to a 3, and I guess on like the uh, standard 100 microgram ones, that would probably be the equivalent of like 5 or 6 tabs.
wow, bro. You like a lot of micrograms. Wow. That's funny, man.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um,
I
what
can't.
do you
I
what do
can't.
you like to do?
I can't say how much micrograms. I've basically made up how many micrograms my trips feel like. You know what I mean? Like, when I took that 2.5 tabs and puked and those intense visuals, I would put that around 250 to 300 micrograms. You know, and
It's
what?
like a really solid dose.
Right?
If you're having 2.5, wait, are you talking about? You estimate that you took probably 250 to 300 total
Total.
on that trip.
Total.
Okay.
Total. Yes. So, um, and that's another thing is the subjective perception. Unless you know how many fucking micrograms are in your tabs, you are guessing based off of how hard you're tripping. But how hard you trip is a subjective experience that comes off differently and can seem to occur in some people earlier than it does for others. And I'm one of the people that thinks my body is highly sensitive to psychedelics. And maybe this is a complete delusion because I've never tested or found out how strong my tabs are. But I'm under the impression that if I take 100 micrograms of LSD, I'm having a nice trip, bro. I'm having a nice trip. I'm seeing visual distortions, and my body is euphoric, and my thoughts are tripland, you know? But if I am, say, having epiphanous realizations and having what I would call extraordinary hallucinations, even though they're all extraordinary, but really, really like intense visuals. That's when I say That's when I start thinking I'm around 200 micrograms, or if it's fucking gawking, mind blowing. That's what makes me say 250, maybe 300. But I don't know. I don't know how strong my tabs are. You know, all I know is I take, like you said, I took this tab, the ones I took at my friend Xavier's house. Dude, I take one tab and I'm just tripping. My brother meets this guy at work and gets his LSD. I take one of that and I have ego death. You know what I mean?
The dosages that you're able to get from batch to batch, they vary so wildly that you can't get any kind of accurate footing or understanding of what the micrograms do to you.
Have you ever gotten LSD that one tab was really good? Like that it hit that perfect range? And if so, what range? Well, you already told me like 500, 600 micrograms is what you like. Have you ever had a 500 mic tab?
Not that I'm aware of, but I did have this one small batch one time, where this was a while ago, and I was testing a small handful because I was debating on getting more, and so I tried them, and then so I had a batch of 4 of them, and one of the tabs had like a pink strip on it, and I tried 2 tabs. I tried one of the normal looking ones, and I tried one with a pink strip on it, and I fucking tripped balls on that one. And then I tried the remaining 2 tabs a different time, and the amount that I tripped was probably like half of that previous experience.
Wow. What was the time between the experiences?
I think it was about 2 weeks.
2 weeks. I mean,
yeah.
LSD tolerance. I mean, when you compare that tolerance to DMT, LSD is hardcore, bro. You take one tab, your serotonin system is like wired for the next 5 days. You know what I mean? If you took another tab, I've heard people call it the magic. You know, like if you take LSD a second time close together, it's not as like the magic isn't there or whatever. But I really do think it's when you have no tolerance and take a dose of LSD or any psychedelic, really, it shocks your system with it, and those are the mind-blowing fucking trips.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
Hold on a second. I can see my lighting is starting to get dimmer here.
Yeah. Do you have a light you can turn on?
I do have one. Let me go see how this is gonna turn out here. I'll be right back.
Yeah, dude, you're good. What's up, everybody? It's a good talk. I hope you watch this. This is fun. Hey, that looks way better, bro. looks way better, dude.
Okay, much better?
Oh, yeah.
Alright, there we go, man. I didn't realize that this much time had elapsed, but here we are.
Are you still chilling, bro?
Yeah, I'm gonna chat for a little while longer. I'm having fun, man. This is
Me
a
too,
good time.
dude.
So, yeah, I guess that'd be good for like another 20 or 30 minutes or so before
Yeah,
I start
same.
getting ready to go to bed here.
What time is it? Wait, first of all, where are you at? Are you in the United States?
I am in the United States.
You don't need to tell me any more of that. Like, what's your time zone?
Say that I'm on Eastern time.
Yeah,
so
same here.
Right now it is 8:24 for me.
That's probably what it is for me too. Yeah, I'm on ETC.
So we're on the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, man. Oh, but I was gonna say though that it definitely does make sense because everybody has different um, propensity to feel psychedelic effects because everybody's biology is different, and so somebody may be more or less sensitive to others than it. And you said that you feel like you're more sensitive to psychedelics in particular, and you don't really need as much. Like you could take one tab of acid and feel like you're tripping and having a psychedelic experience.
For sure.
And that could be due to many different factors, such as like people have different density of serotonin receptors in their brain,
Wow.
or
Yeah.
different types located throughout their body, or they could just be more or less biologically sensitive to the chemical. Um, and it's interesting because I feel like I'm actually less sensitive to psychedelics, and I feel like I need more to really get what I'm looking for. So I tend to take like really big doses. It's like if I were to take a standard street tab of LSD, that's if I take one tab, like I'll feel it and I'll feel like a little euphoric, but I won't feel like I'm tripping. And my buddies who I like to do it with, they like to do one tab because they said it does that for them.
Right.
But I looked at them like, no, it's kind of just a tease, just doing one.
Dude, you're like my brother. My brother, like, anytime he trips, like, unless it's been a long time since he's done it, like, he'll do one tab if it's been a long time or if it's new LSD, because I taught him to do that. If you get new LSD, just take one, bro. But yeah, he likes to do, like, what he likes to do, say he has some good LSD, he likes to take, like, 2.5 to 3. And if he's really trying to see shit, he'll take 4. 5 is like, oh, damn, you're doing a half strip tonight, bro? God fucking damn. See you later, soldier.
Exactly, man. That's no, yeah, because people are more or less sensitive to the substance, and it's really interesting. I don't know. I always feel like a heathen when I take like double or triple the dose that my friends do, and but it's just biology.
Yeah, you bring up that density of serotonin receptors. That interests my serotonin receptors.
There's a lot of factors that go into that as well.
And also like what you consider tripping balls to be. If you consider tripping balls to be just seeing things slightly moving around and your body feeling tight and stimulated, that's not tripping balls, bro. That's just starting to feel what LSD does, dude. And tripping balls is like, there's a reason they call it tripping, because you are fucking, you know what I mean?
It's really, really weird.
Shit gets really weird. Yeah, that's
you
a good.
start having like weird thoughts that you keep forgetting and you
Yeah, dude.
It
Fuck yeah.
feels. I think they call it tripping is because like you'll try to think about something and you feel like your mind trips over itself.
Yeah. Yes,
And
dude. Yes. Yes.
yeah,
100%. And like people refer sometimes to tripping as you're going on a trip, but more so, I think of it like that. That you are literally
like
tripping over yourself, and that's what the
tripping and falling.
right, right,
Yeah.
psychologically. Yo, dude, if you don't mind,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take a piss real quick. Uh, yeah,
Yeah.
dude, just brainstorm
Absolutely.
for the time being, bro. I'll be right back.
Sounds good. I'll let my ears take a break from this headphone for a second.
I was back with it, bro. Sorry about that.
It's all bueno, man. You are good. Um. So yeah, I guess I guess we should take like the next 10 or 15 minutes or so to like kind of wrap up what we were thinking about
Yeah, dude, I'd love to do that.
and
Cause
and then we should definitely have another discussion in the future.
for sure, bro. Like you're a new homie. You know, Psychonaut Visions is my only other YouTube uh, related like people that I communicate with regularly,
Oh
I
yeah.
guess. But you know, this is what I'm trying to fucking. This is why I made the channel to talk
Mm-hmm.
with people like you and befriend people like you and share. You know, it's not as much so in the comment section that the activity
Mm-hmm.
goes on. It does. That's where a lot of people put in their 2 cents about what I said, or usually just thank or
Mm-hmm.
congratulate what I was talking about or whatever. But dude, getting to talk with people about these things and learning
Mm-hmm.
about the different ways in which people um, perceive this experience, dude. That's why I made this shit, bro. Because
Yes.
I damn well felt like I was experiencing something that I need to fucking talk about because it's gonna save the world. Like
Mm.
I remember this.
And
Oh, sorry. Go on.
yeah, and it's nice to have these face-to-face conversations. Really, well, semi-face-to-face because we're through the internet. Um, but just to like have like a raw conversation with another human being that's been to like these realms of existence and
It's
these
very
experiences.
interesting, man.
It's very very unfortunate about the current legal status of psychedelics in our society, and because they've been criminalized, the people who want to use them for good, wholesome purposes, like ourselves, we're like pushed into the underground, and we have to be really careful about who we talk to this stuff about.
For sure.
Um, and that's thankfully that's starting to change nowadays.
Right, dude.
Um,
Like,
like like 10, 15 years ago, not so much, but now people are starting to come around to the fact that, hold on, we made a mistake by trying to criminalize these substances. Like they can do a lot of immensely beneficial things for us. And I appreciate having these like conversations with you and with others like ourselves, so we can kind of start the process of bringing these substances out of the closet. Really,
right? I think like I talked about earlier, and like you talked about this psychedelic renaissance that is happening. It kind of came out of nowhere. It started with like I don't know. It was just like you're seeing all these trip reports and stuff, and then you start hearing about maps, and then all of a sudden everybody's going to ayahuasca ceremonies, and you're starting to see DMT and psilocybin and MDMA, and it's all starting to pop up. And then you look at your own experience. You know, look what you've been doing the past handful of years. Look at what I've been fucking doing. I am in it. I am it. It's happened. It's happening to us, and we are the products of this coming energy, and it's living through us vicariously. It's only an illusion that we think we are doing all these things, you know, and we're the initiators of this. No, man, it's like the psychedelic realm has something to tell the human species, because we are conscious in a way that other things can't necessarily communicate or portray, you know, and maybe they enjoy psychedelic experiences and spirits without even having to ingest them, and you know, how would we know? But I feel like the psychedelics are they did it once back in the 60s. They came in, you know, and they've been hanging out in all these different parts of the world for thousands of years. All the Native American peyote churches and the tribes that eat mushrooms, and the Amazonian shaman tribes, the Shipibo, and you know, other tribes like them that have been taking ayahuasca for thousands of fucking years, bro. Our culture. What's that?
Go ahead.
I'm
not gonna interrupt you.
No, you're good, bro. You're good. Our culture didn't really get a psychedelic. It was never integrated into our lives. Terrence McKenna wouldn't agree with me when I say that, according to his stoned ape theory, which I buy into a little bit. But no, it's our modern American culture never really got that, got to see what psychedelics were, and
because it's so just new, like we have like one of the shortest lived cultures really on the planet, I guess.
Right. That's you know, I've never thought about that before, and maybe
just literally haven't had the years to develop like other ancient societies have.
Maybe that plays a role in how, not only why this psychedelic renaissance is taking place, but how fast it's picking up pace. You know, because in the '60s, man, that was crazy. That was crazy. It was a LSD bomb, and everybody realized themselves, and everybody, but you know, everybody got stumped too. Everybody realized, oh shit, we got these egos. You know, I'm still somebody, I guess. You know, and it kind of died out. But no, it's like
show us a lot of uncomfortable things about the current state of our psyches as a culture.
Right, and a lot of us got startled. A lot of us got cocky. A lot of us thought it was bullshit, and it just kind of became normalized because that's what the ego likes to do. But I also feel that the psychedelics are making a re-entry, and in a different form, maybe, you know, to the point where it may not even matter what you're taking, be it psychedelic. But no, man, just being somebody myself that is all of a sudden found myself having crazy psychedelic experiences under my belt, and being somebody that advocates the use of psychedelics for opening your mind and all these insane spiritual notions I've come to convey and put off, you know, and I feel nuts next to people at work and people in society, and it's like,
Or you'll stand next to somebody who is so totally asleep into their ego, into their role in the culture that they don't even like question why they do things that they do.
yeah, dude, and they call us over analytical. I'm over analytical is what it is. But man, it's almost like I'm realizing fucking life and realizing how my mind works, and realizing
Yeah.
how my perceptions of others play a role to me, you know, and affects them. And dude, um, I don't even know if it's a specifically psychedelic energy that is roaring through us, but I feel like something is happening, you know, and psychedelics, I think, play a role in it to an extent in their power to uh, blow the mind, you know.
Yep. Psychedelics, I definitely agree in that they are the most effective and potent tools for transforming our minds and transforming our quality of life for the better. And the
That's what
world
makes
deserves
me
to know about this.
buy into the stoned ape theory as much as I do, is
Hmm.
the power that they have in consciousness. If you don't fucking think what happens when you take psychedelics isn't the most incredible, extraordinary thing you've ever seen,
Hmm.
you're either psychotic or unintelligent, unaware. Because
Pretty much.
how could something so alien and bizarre and mysterious and seemingly apparently impossible to physics occur to the subjective experience? And you can talk it all away as much as you want with, oh, now that was a hallucination that occurred at the synapses of this neurotransmitter due to the ingestion of, you know, it's fucking crazy to the extent that we go to try to define and understand why this is happening. But man, take fucking smoke 60 milligrams of DMT, or take 300 micrograms of LSD, or 6 grams of mushrooms, and tell me how the synapses are doing it then. You know, tell me how it's all makes sense and is simple, and oh, it's just a psychedelic drug. You know, it's not fucking like that, man. It's soulful. It's hitting you. It's going, like I say, it's going behind you, and it's experiential. It's your being, you know, man.
The Yes, I agree. The greatest lesson that psychedelics have given me, and this deserves a whole discussion of itself, but I'm going to keep it brief here, is that psychedelics help me realize that our own very existence in the universe is nothing short of miraculous, and that it
That's
should
a
be the
great,
most
simple way to
fascinating
put it.
thing, and should, um, we should really like contemplate that fact that do exist, that there is something rather than nothing, and that how is the universe configured in this life, and just our whole situation here. Really, I can't put words to it,
Yeah.
but
It's not words,
just
man.
should just be utterly fascinating.
It is,
And
and that's another good way to put it, bro, is what could be more fascinating than the things we're talking about right now? I mean, call me egoic, call me attached to the psychedelic or spiritual path or whatever, but um, different religions and different fields of study and different hobbies and interests, they seem to be based out of in something else rather than what pulls one towards um, not only spirituality but the divine that is within psychedelics, because you know it's there, dude. It's fucking there, and there's something going on, you know.
I agree wholeheartedly. And I actually, well, I guess I'm gonna use this as like a closing segue here because it is starting to get late. But I want to tell you about a vision I've had or dream I've been having for a long time, and I'll make a video about this in the future. We can have more discussions about it. But I've had a dream for a really long time because psychedelics have such they've had such a profound transformative effect on my life. I want to share this with other people. And wouldn't it be nice if we could have like retreat centers here where we're at, where people could safely, if they're curious about psychedelics, they go to like a safe retreat center with experienced, trained experts, right? Like ourselves. They could have like in a really wholesome setting where they could prepare for these things properly and work with an expert who can help them adjust a dose to their particular sensitivities and their own body weight. They could explore their consciousness and experience the magic of psychedelics.
That gives me
Like
chills, dude. Just the
it's
that the opportunity that could be a thing, man. That could be a thing, you know, and being somebody that's had those magical experiences and speaking with somebody that's had those magical experiences, you know, the yearn for
because
something like that would be so
it's one
grand.
thing to, and it's interesting you mentioned that too because it's one thing to have the experience yourself in, but if it's criminalized like it is now, you could have nobody to talk to about it. But if you're able to talk to somebody else who understands what the psychedelic experience entails, then that kind of helps it like settle in. You
Right.
can like come to terms with it and understand it better.
Yeah, a lot of the integration does come through um, just getting it out to somebody else, and you know, if they've gone through the same experiences, there's a beautiful reciprocation. And you know what you say about those retreats for people that haven't um, taken psychedelics. Um, I love to be the shaman that gives somebody allows somebody to enter into their first psychedelic experience. But you know what? I always feel such a caution and such a caution and
Mm-hmm.
sort of anxiety in it, because the human mind, the little ego, is so fragile, you know. And I don't want to be the guy that makes this kid go fucking insane because he gave him this psychedelic drug. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and it is a little non-formal.
Is Yeah, it is definitely an art form. You gotta, when introducing somebody to psychedelics for the first time, you gotta tread that ground very carefully.
For sure, man.
But there are ways to do it safely, and typically, if you give somebody like a small dose, they're gonna know if it's for them pretty quickly, and if it's for them, they're gonna feel like a deep curiosity towards those deeper experiences. Um,
Something, something like DMT. I feel the full extent of the trip is the way to go. Give somebody a nice dose where they will be on it.
mhm.
Like not breakthrough, obviously, but something that has you on it because uh, that's quick. It comes and goes, and I feel like it's something that should be seen if it's going to be done.
Hmm. A light dose of DMT can give you a beginner like a really good starter dose that you don't have to dedicate a day to
Right.
for seeing what the psychedelic experience is about.
I agree 100%. Like, that's actually, well, I take that back. Yeah, I actually had the honor of giving my friend, that my lifelong friend, really, DMT for the first time, and I'm not gonna explain it
Okay.
because not only is it his experience, but I could just like make a trip report about it or something, and I want to wrap it up. But he blew out the fattest cloud of DMT that I've ever fucking seen, bro. Like a lot of smoke came out of his lungs, bro, and he had a beautiful experience, and I was in bliss. I didn't even do it, man, and I was so happy and blissed out that because I knew he was seeing it, bro. I knew he was laid back, eyes shut for like 10 minutes, and it's just so beautiful to get to show another being that world, you know. Uh,
Absolutely.
but yeah, thank you so much, dude, for this talk. Really.
This has been beautiful. I feel like I could just keep going, but we should probably take care of our regular lives here.
Oh shit! What is my regular life? I need to locate that thing.
I know, right? Alrighty.
But yeah, dude, I'll I'll definitely be talking with you again in the near future. Um, and maybe
Yeah.
now that we've just had this completely open and sporadic conversation, maybe the next video we can talk about a formal, specific topic that we can just completely dive right into with our own intellects, because I feel like that would also make a very nice video on a generalized topic, because this was just open, bro. I
Yeah.
love it.
This this was very open and it was a lot of fun.
It was very fun.
I, but yeah. Any closing thoughts, or I think I said my piece.
Give me a second here.
Uh,
Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Shaman Tim. It's such a beautiful feeling to know that there's other people out there that are apparently experiencing something like me, and I'm not alone,
mhm.
and I'm very honored and humbled by just the universe itself, and every one of you is the universe, so I thank all you just for being in the first place. So yeah, that's really my last words, man.
That's beautiful.
All right,
Yeah.
I'm gonna cut it out.
Um,
Wait, were you gonna say something, bro?
Alrighty. I was gonna close out, but that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, everybody, if you watch this whole thing, thank you so much. I'm gonna be
Kudos to
talking
you.
with.
Stuck it in this long, and yeah, just thank you all for the time, the opportunity to speak with you all, and uh, y'all are truly beautiful people.
I'll be
And
talking
you
with
are
this
as
guy in the
well.
future.
Alrighty, it's been a
Peace
pleasure,
out,
man.
guys. See you, bro.
Peace out.